Hello, this is Dunstan Birchinger, inspirational coach, coming to you today from the Kennet and Avon Canal, very close to Bath. So, where am I hear you ask? I'm on a very unusual boat that's here under the trees. It goes with this boat over here, which is an original horse-drawn cargo boat that's been converted. So that's pretty cool. And if you look over here, this is the just up on the canals, people going up and down the towpath, and it's a nice spot. So I want to talk to you today about making decisions, and I want to talk to you about a really important decision that you're probably not even aware that you're making every day that makes a massive impact on your life. So you've probably heard it said that your life is obviously made up of moments, and your life is the result of the decisions that you make. So every day you make many thousands, and probably a million little decisions that add up to be your life. Now, a lot of those are just kind of, I just get curious on like, how do you make all those decisions? Because I don't know about you, but if I had to stop every time 1,000 times every hour and write down and figure it out, I wouldn't ever get anything done. I'd be indecisive, I'd be procrastinating. So obviously a lot of those decisions are just happening, they're getting handled by the unconscious, right? So how can you get that to work really well for you? How do you, there may be a few points in life where you're going to make a decision that you're aware of. Now that could be what filling do I order in my sandwich or something like that, which may or may not make much of an impact on your life. But I'm talking about a decision here that's bigger than that. What's the biggest decision that you're making every day? So, a decision that you make every day is what you do with your time. So do you do something every day with your time, might be called work, that you love doing? If so, great. Is there something you would love to be doing that's different? So obviously that's a choice, is how you use your time. A lot of people call it, what job do you do? But what if there's even a much bigger decision that you're making every day that you're not even aware of? This came to light recently because I ended up in a really challenging situation, and I just realized that what was happening was that the person I'm working with is just coming from a different angle here, and is totally 100% valid from their viewpoint. And the decision is that it's a choice. Any day, any moment is the question of excellence or mediocrity. Okay? Now, if you aren't making a decision on those, you're choosing mediocrity. If you're not choosing to do things to the best of your ability, with the maximum of your talent and your human potential, every time you do something, then you're automatically choosing mediocrity. Unless you're a master at something and you're so damn good at it that you just naturally, if you're in that unconscious competence, like if you're a maestro at the violin and you're just playing the violin and you're so talented at it, of course you can be excellent without, it's like that choice is grained into you so deeply. My second quote for you for today is from Aristotle. So the quote is, "We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit." Now, I came across that quote. I read it in a book by Stephen Covey, 7 Habits. When I was 21, I was very lucky, and something about that just grabbed me. And since then, I haven't always been excellent in my life in every moment, but it's something that I keep coming back to. I don't know if it's possible to be excellent in every moment of life. But the truth of it is that for someone who has made that choice at some point, being mediocre and just right by the train line here is one of the drawbacks of being outside. So hopefully you can hear me. Point is, being mediocre hurts. Now, I'm not talking about perfectionism. Like, if I was a perfectionist, I'd be in a studio, I would edit this video, I wouldn't be by a train line, blah, 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 blah. It would be boring and sterile. Okay, I'm not talking about perfectionism. I'm talking about excellence. I'm talking about showing up, doing the best you can with every situation, focusing on what can be done rather than focusing on reasons why it can't be done, or reasons why we shouldn't strive for the best standard possible in whatever we do. So this is a bit of a split. Now, you could be someone who is excellent at work, but your relationships suck. You could be someone who is brilliant in relationships, but you don't look after your health. So what I'm talking about here is a choice to be excellent in any moment. Now, let's just dig into that a little bit, because I don't want to go making it right and wrong and saying it's right to make this choice to be excellent and it's wrong to make this choice to be mediocre. I don't want to even be saying that it's better to make a choice to be excellent in life than it is to just kind of make the unconscious choice of just being mediocre. I don't want to put a judgment on it. But what I do want to do is break it down and look at the underlying motivations, the underlying beliefs, the underlying forces that are at work in both of those. So I want to dig into those both a little bit. We're going to start with excellence. Now, what population percentage-wise, what percentage of people do you think live their lives choosing to be excellent? Do you reckon it's 5%? 2%? It's definitely less than 10% from what I can see in my life. Tell me if I'm wrong, but how many people in your life do you know that whatever they do, they're always going to make a really good job of it? Now, what are the advantages of choosing excellence? Well, it's an expression of your individuality. One of the a little private school I went to when I was like 7 or 8 or something had this motto. It was like, if a job's worth doing, it's worth doing properly. So it's kind of old school. Now, of course, schools don't go in for their Latin mottos so much these days, but this is just a little bit of old school, right? So bear with me. What other advantages is the pride of looking at something. Like, imagine you've done a job and you look at it and you go, you know what? I'm fucking proud of that. I did a really good job of that. And chances are that something a bit creative happened, because if you've just done it as well as the next person, that's okay, that's great. Even if you've done a good job, well, great. But where's that, like, you know, getting the basics right, and then that's the bread and butter, and then putting the jam on top of the cake, like putting that extra little touch that is yours, like whether it be how you tie the ropes on the boat or something like that, your little signature, or just something extra that maybe someone wasn't expected. Now, what is the drawback of excellence? Because so far it sounds pretty good, right? What's the drawback of choosing excellence and choosing to be creative and always do the best you can? Well, it's painful. Why is it painful? Because most people don't live like that. It's often unappreciated. You might have spent ages putting your heart and soul and love into something, doing the best you possibly can, and someone just comes along, grabs it and goes, oh, yeah, and they just don't appreciate the love that's gone into it. But obviously you know, but the pain is being unappreciated. There's also the pain that comes with aloneness. It's the pain of standing apart from the crowd. Because if people are like, you know, if this circle is how people live, your leaders aren't in the middle here, yeah? Your people doing excellent, they're kind of like out here on the fringes on their own, doing something different. By definition of the fact that they're in, like, whatever it is, 5%, they're doing something different to what everyone else is doing. So can you be excellent and creative if you're doing what you're told and doing the same as everyone else? Maybe up to a point. But if you're really doing your thing, no one else is going to be doing it, yeah? There's no other you in the world. So, you know, right now, I don't see any other dudes in here in boats shooting video. Now, right or wrong, they're doing what they do, cool. But you've got to be prepared to do your own thing and feel the pain that comes with that, because it can be lonely. And standing alone, you don't get that constant feedback from other people. Few people appreciate the work of a true artist while the artist is alive. Now, that is to be expected. Someone like Picasso or so many great geniuses like Nikola Tesla, for example, 100 years after he's dead, people are like, wow, what, it's more and more so. What an absolute dude. In his time, was he appreciated? Probably not. So that kind of sucks, right? So, but that's part of what it takes to be excellent, is that maybe no one appreciates you. Maybe no one will ever appreciate you, but you do it because you take pride in it and you want, and of course, when it's appreciated, it's a real joy. And when you meet someone who gets that, then they're a real friend because they can see that. And they're probably someone else who's made that choice to live a life of excellence. So we're moving. I don't know if you realise, because the canal is quite a narrow little container of water, a little channel. The displacement of water as a boat goes past, the water has to rush in behind that boat to fill that gap, because it's taking up a decent percentage of the shallow, narrow channel. So when the boat's coming, it pushes the stationary craft back, and then as it goes past, it kind of sucks it forward. So if you spotted me moving about, then that's why. So the last thing I have to say about this choice of excellence is, and it's just, I'm bundling a few things in: excellence, creativity, individuality, and the animal that I'm going to pick is going to be the wolf, okay? And the wolf's journey of initiation is to leave the herd, leave the crowd, leave the pack, and go and adventure and explore in the dark of the night and run through forests and go and explore new territory. And then to come back and offer that to other people in the context of being a leader or an inspiration. But you see, if the wolf never left and always just stayed in the pack, the wolf wouldn't bring that value to the pack. It's only through leaving and exploring that the wolf brings that back. So what that means is doing things differently to how other people are doing them, learning from that, and then offering that up. That's it, really. So excellence, wolf. We've got the pride and satisfaction as advantages, and on the downside, we've got the pain, the aloneness, the unappreciatedness, maybe the frustration of all of that creativity. Okay. Now, what about mediocrity? Because it's really easy to use this as a derogatory thing and say, okay, if you're being mediocre, it's like. But what are the advantages of doing what people around you are doing to the same standards, in the same kind of way? Now, advertising campaigns try and convince us. They're like, ooh, which car are you? So essentially it's like, ooh, are you the person that rides around a Fiat 500? Or are you some kind of person that has a blue car or a white car? Or are you someone who has a BMW? And of course, all these things mean something about who you are. Well, sure, there's some elements of choice in all of that, but essentially it's got four wheels and it's got a steering wheel and it gets you from one place to another. And you may or may not have fun while you're sitting in it. So really, so these are some of the choices, but what we're talking about is choices within the context of what car do you have, and it's not really, in my opinion, such an important decision. However, for some people it is an important decision. So, what are the advantages? Well, the advantage is conformity. You get to know what to do because you kind of look around you and you're doing pretty much what other people are doing. And if you have to make a decision, you go, well, what do I do coming up to this junction? Well, everyone else is queued up in a line here, so I'll just join that queue and queue with them. Now that could be in traffic, obviously, or it could be a metaphor. You know, are you lined up waiting for a right job to come up with a load of other applicants, or are you know, going out and creating your own job description as an entrepreneur? Of course, that's in the other category. But and again, there's nothing to do with you. You may be in a job that whether you love it or hate it, that you've chosen to be really fucking awesome at that job. I am in no way doing down having a job and working for someone else, or doing whatever anyone does. We're talking about the reasons of what motivates people to behave how they do and make the decisions they make. So there's totally a feeling of connection that comes with being connected to other people that are making the similar set of choices from the similar mindset and the similar values to the people around you. So that's definitely an advantage. It's the feeling of belonging, because you belong to a group. And it's also the feeling of like, you can compare yourself to others, yeah? Now, whether you go, yeah, I'm doing just as well as that person, or I'm keeping up with the Joneses, or I'm going to be better than other people around me and get a promotion, or whatever, it's about defining yourself by comparing yourself to others. See, in the other group, you compare yourself to you. You compare yourself to whatever, but you're not looking around evaluating yourself by reference to these people around you. And actually, it can be a lot easier if you've got people to refer to who are doing the same kind of things. It can be a whole load easier. So, what's the pain of mediocrity? Because this could light a fire up your ass. Maybe not. Maybe not. But for me, it's the pain of dying, knowing the pain of like going through my life to die to death, knowing that the best parts of me have not been expressed, knowing that I didn't shoot a video, which, who knows, maybe no one will even watch, maybe a load of people will get pissed about, but it doesn't matter. But, you know, if I didn't do this today, I would go to sleep at night knowing that this was inside me and it hadn't come out, and I hadn't done that, and I hadn't given that. And that there were parts of me that were unexplored and unexposed, and gifts that weren't given, okay? So, and that's it. And, you know, people make their choices based on these things, and there's plus and minus on both, advantages and pain points for both, and people make their choices. And the only point of this video, the only thing I'm offering up to you is to make a choice that works for you, yeah? Now, if you love your life and life works really well for you and you're totally happy, don't change. Don't change. And if you're like, what's he talking about? Pain. I'm quite happy. I'm doing what everyone on my street does, and I love it. Then great. This is no judgment on that. But again, if there's a little bit niggling inside you of going, hey, there's more in me. There's really more in me that wants to come out and wants to be expressed. Yeah. I forgot to mention, what do you think the animal is for mediocrity or conformity? I don't know, mediocrity sounds like a negative thing. And you know, if 95% of people are living that way, I don't want to be bad-mouthing the vast majority of people out in the world, right? So, what if, there they go on the train. But what if we, you know, please don't be offended by my use of the word mediocre. Let's go with conformity. But what's the animal that goes with that? The animal is the sheep. And sheep are loving to their young. They are warm and cozy, and they come together and keep each other warm, and they kind of go around as a flock. Generally, you get the odd one that maybe wants to be a wolf, but they go around together and they kind of take care of each other, or they kind of like, they feel good and they feel safe, and they know where they stand in that. And so you know, chances are there's probably times in life where it's fun to be a wolf, and there's probably times in life where it works well to be a sheep. So they're both choices. And you know, I want to finish up with another quote. My final quote for today is Marianne Williamson, and she wrote this in her book, A Return to Love. Nelson Mandela used it too, but Marianne Williamson actually wrote it. And the quote starts off, this chapter starts off, our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. It's that we're powerful beyond measure. And it goes on. So a little bit of food for thought. And my only intention with this video is that right now, or in a future moment, or maybe every day of your life, you're going to be more conscious about this decision you make. Whether you choose excellence or whatever we want to call it, mediocrity or conformity. You know, and to really just do things to the best of your ability so you can go to sleep at night knowing that you've really done your best in something. Yes, start with something if you want to. But what have we got? We've got a duck and the duckling, and we've got a little moorhen getting in the mix as well. So it's never a dull moment up here on the canal. But anyway, that's all I wanted to share with you. So I'd love to hear your feedback. If this video pissed you off, let me know. Great. If you loved it, let me know. Great. If you're apathetic and didn't bother watching it to the end, then whatever. And I'm going to sign out. All right. It's Dunstan Birchinger signing off from the